7 Americans who have crossed into North Korea. 1. Travis King. 2023. Private Travis T. King is a puzzle. He only joined the Army in 2021. King was detained for some infraction in Seoul. After his release, he was to be put on a plane home. Instead, he left the airport and got on a tour bus. King went on a civilian tour of the DMZ. At one point, he laughed and ran across. Now he's believed to be detained in North Korea. The reasons for his behavior are unclear. 2. Bruce Byron Lawrence. 2018. Lawrence was captured in North Korea. After entering from China, he was forced to issue a statement to the North Korean media. Lawrence said he'd been under the manipulation of the CIA. He was released a month later. The swift release came after Trump met with Kim Jong-un. 3. Matthew Todd Miller. 2014. Miller went to North Korea on a tourist visa. He ended up being sentenced to 6 years of hard labor. The court claimed he'd torn up his visa at the airport. Miller supposedly wanted to experience North Korean prison life. He was forced to work 8-hour days in the fields. The 24-year-old was freed after 2 months. 4. Robert Park. 2009. Park was a Christian human rights activist. He crossed into North Korea by walking across a frozen river. Park intended to call for the release of political prisoners. He said it was his duty as a Christian. He was immediately apprehended by North Korean border guards. Park was beaten and tortured in captivity. He was forced to make a public statement recanting his position. Released in 2010, Park is still suffering from PTSD. 5. Ijelan Gomez. 2010. Gomez worked as an English teacher in Seoul. He was a worshiper at the same church as Park. Gomez likewise crossed the frozen Tumen River to enter the DPRK. He planned to work as a missionary. Instead, he was immediately arrested. Gomez was sentenced to 8 years of hard labor. He was also fined $700,000. Gomez reportedly tried to kill himself in detention. A massive campaign was launched for his release. Ex-President Jimmy Carter personally flew to Pyongyang to get him out. It worked, and Gomez was released after 8 months in captivity. He wrote about his experience in his autobiography. Sadly, Gomez suffered severe PTSD for years. By 2017, he was homeless and broke. Gomez committed suicide by setting himself on fire in a field. 6. Joseph T. White. 1982. White was a U.S. soldier stationed in South Korea. He defected after careful consideration. White shot the lock off a gate leading to the DMZ. Then he crossed the minefield with his arms raised. Apparently, White was a communist. It was his sincere wish to live in North Korea. White has never been seen again. In 1983, his parents received a letter from him. White said he was happy and working as an English teacher. 2 years later, he supposedly drowned in a river. At 23, his body was not recovered. 7. Inna Wallace Sue. 1950. Better known as Seoul City Sue. She was a unique case. Sue taught at an American school in Seoul after World War II. Her husband was local, and he was a communist sympathizer. During the Korean War, Sue chose the northern side. She recorded English-language radio propaganda. She indoctrinated Americans held in POW camps. After the war, Sue was put in charge of English-language propaganda. Her glorious career ended rather predictably. In 1969, she was arrested. Sue was accused of being a South Korean spy. She was found guilty and executed.